then.
Are you gonna send it? Okay.
We record. Greetings, everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. Welcome to the Art Lexcia podcast. This is episode 163, and welcome to all my new and returning listeners. Much love to everybody. I don't really have any other announcements today. Today I asked Adrian Tony to come back from the Movement Story Technology. If any of you guys been following any of my previous episodes, we spoke to him a good few months ago. I thought I remembered when, but I don't. But it was a couple of months ago. They ran this fantastic initiative in the Northern Cape, in Lexcia in the Northern Cape, where they use this fantastic board game to teach people coding and so forth and so forth. I'll actually add that link into the description if anyone want to recheck that out. But also the reason why we asked Adrian to come back is talk about technology, or rather artists' relationship with technology. As you guys know, that's something that's I'm really passionate about that, and I've actually focused, or I would say I pivoted my entire career to focus on that. I'm actually, I would actually say I'm a big advocate, especially to talk about, especially things like AI, how artists are dealing with it, coping with it, etc., and how we are gonna adapt to it. And I don't mean adapt in terms of reacting, because unfortunately that's what we see too much, is people reacting, and usually all the time it's usually very sensationalist and very, very negative. I've noticed that people got a very, very poor, I would say, or rather, they're giving AI and this new fourth industrial revolution a really, really, really bad rep. And in most cases, I think it's justified. But today we want to pack a little bit on that, because I don't think it's all that negative, and I don't think that's the right way to look at it, because as we know, this technology is going nowhere. It's going nowhere. It's here to stay, and it will only become more and more and more part of our lives. And I think just to sit on the fence and to point fingers and to say this is wrong, I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go. And not to sound all conspiracy theory like, but I do think that is probably part of the reason why, or rather thinking like that is definitely a. Nah, man. Look. I don't want to sound like conspiracy theory, so I'm just gonna leave it there. But anyway, let's first of all, Adrian. Firstly, my brother, thanks for coming back again. Thanks for making time. I know you guys are busy. You told me yesterday you've got a show coming up. End of October, or
December.
End of November.
In December.
December. Okay, so that's like
yes.
What? Less than 6 weeks.
18th and 14th of December.
Yeah, it's like literally around the corner. The year's over. At least if you're not. So everybody's working towards now to 2025. But anyway, my brother, so you got a little bit of what I said there in the beginning, and we spoke a bit yesterday about what we're going to talk about today. But first of all, good morning and welcome.
Morning, my brother. Thank you for the invite again. It's really great to have conversations with you. Like I've been enjoying our chats. Thank you for inviting me again. I'm really happy to be here.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic, bro. Yeah. Once again, thanks. Welcome for coming back. Let's jump into it, man. Like I said the other day, and through this monologue, I think that we are living through the fourth industrial revolution. This post-COVID world that we're living in is vastly different than 5 years ago. Just because many businesses, in fact, every single business that I'm aware of, has adapted to this new reality and has started to use technology, whereas I would say pre-COVID they didn't. Just a quick example. Something I've noticed on the roads. I've seen more and more of these like the Checkers 6060. And I've seen more courier services on the roads more than I have definitely pre-COVID or before COVID. That's just a short example. Just to illustrate.
Mm.
That people are spending more and more time on their phones, buying things, and so forth and so forth. So things have changed. But when it comes to the arts, it hasn't. It stubbornly hasn't. It hasn't. Just a quick example, like the Joburg Art Fair was a few months ago, and it was the same. It
Mm.
was the same. You gotta pay a large amount of entry fee to go look. It was the same. It was the same. Nothing. No. Even the online platform was just a website. It wasn't really interactive. It only showed maybe a fraction of what was happening, and so forth and so forth. But yeah. So, my brother, I know you guys, with that coding exercise, board game that just do, you're working in a very rural part of South Africa, we are very
Mm.
into and workshopping and coaching kids around this. What's your take on all of that, man? What's your take on how technology has infiltrated and starting to change how people are doing business?
Well, I will say, especially how I'm seeing it or viewing it where I am. Um, I would say I'm fortunate enough to have seen both, like, different sides of the world. Like, I'm in a rural space at the moment, and I also have access to the places like Joburg, Cape Town, where there is like development. You understand? So I have seen the disadvantages in rural areas. I have seen the advantages in Joburg when it comes to technology, you know. So I'm sure you know the say about the rich get more richer, the poor gets more poor,
Yeah,
and that whole thing is really a thing. It's real. It's happening. But how I see it also, obviously, when you think about that, say, it doesn't necessarily mean poor in terms of money and all that. Yes, it means that, but it also means in terms of development, in
yeah,
terms of access to, like, for instance, technology. I mean, going further, you realize that most of the things that we're going to be using, like, you mentioned the likes of people using more phones to purchase stuff and all that. So there's development in there. So you get that there won't be, as we go further, everyone will need to have understanding of technology, simple how to use a phone, how to purchase things on the phone. You understand? And I see it here in Northern Cape, in Loxton specifically, where I am, this region. Um, Most people are just they do not care if I say, like, they're not bothered about technology. They're
yeah,
not bothered about having a phone, because I would say maybe it doesn't affect them, um, but in a way it affects them because it's a point of there's lack of understanding, you know. So there's lack of understanding, there's lack of um, education. So if there's lack of education, which means all these, even it might come to help us, technology might come to help us, but you realize that if there's no understanding about how to use it, if there's no education about how to use it, and I can have a phone from a rural place. I'm a child who grew up in a rural space, for instance, just an example, right? How do I start researching, let's say maybe I want to research about Elon Musk. How do I start researching about Elon Musk while I've never heard about Elon Musk? You understand? So you research about things, or you start knowing things, or grow interest to certain things that you've been exposed to. So environment plays a huge role to technology. At this point in time, rural areas do not have any access to this. You can see the likes of Joburg, Gauteng, Cape Town. People are starting to develop technologies and all that, getting interested in that. But it's also not to a huge scale. So artists are not involved much in that. Scary to them. I'm sure it's scary. New is scary to people. So it gets to a point that when you realize Joburg, the places that are well struggling to adapt to this technology, how is it here in the rural areas? How are we gonna even know about that technology?
Good point. I like the fact that your environment plays a lot to do with it, and I fully agree there. And you're talking with regards to a more rural area, it's the same as you say. The same applies to most urban areas as well. And let's just explore that part there about the environment. So my understanding, and I think we touched this on the phone call the other day. I think our environment is shaped a lot by what we are perceived to be reality, and that perception of reality is definitely shaped by the likes of Hollywood. And let's
Yeah.
not be naive. Hollywood has influenced the world in huge ways. They've introduced technology. They've introduced lots of things. We can unpack that on a separate episode. Um, the example I want to use, like I'm in my mid 40s. Growing up, I watched all the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and all these action flicks and so forth. And the narrative that was being driven there was that there's going to come a certain time in the not too distant future where technology will basically turn against humanity and butcher everybody. I'm sitting here flying and then just shoot me because whatever, I don't know, and it's gonna just take over the world and blah 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 blah. As ludicrous as that sounds, if many years later, people still think that it's going to take over the world when the fact is that AI has been used for years already. It's been used in many different parts of. I know in the aviation, for example, in flying a plane. Don't ask me how, but I know it's and so forth. For the life of me, I know those one or two other examples, but I can't think of it now.
I mean, autopilot is AI. You understand? And these things has been involved way back. You understand? So now it's just coming on the surface now, and that's when people starting to oh, this, oh, that, But in real sense, these things have been there. It's developing because, for instance, I normally give an example of this. Back in the days, like in your 1880s, in terms messages, emails, and stuff. If you want to communicate with people, they used to use. You see, what do you call this? The birds or the eagles. They'll send attach it, and then it will fly to a certain area. Right now you can't find that around happening because we're not in the 80s. It develops. So when you talk about current, how can you navigate this day and age? How can you make it easy for yourself in this day and age? So when I view technology as an artist, I view technology to say, okay, it's technology has been there since the dawn of time. You understand? Since the dawn of time. It just has been developing and developing. So as an artist, how can I then take that and put it into my advantage, you know? So most of the times what we have seen or what we see happening is that, like you're saying, Hollywood, we've learned most of the things from Hollywood. AI is going to come and do this and do that and do that. But at the end of the day, you know that thing of too much of anything is bad, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're eating healthy, but if you eat healthy stuff, overload, obviously it's going to have side effects.
Bad.
You
Yeah.
understand? So too much of anything is bad. Um, I just say you just have to balance it. We just have to balance it.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Actually, just another point because I want us to lead to a talk about another thing. On this platform, I've been talking consistently to virtually every guest, not every single guest, but anyway, um, quizzing them how they are adapting to it, how they and more how are they using it, how they especially with regards to the arts, this and that, what platforms they're using and so forth. And
Mm.
what I've picked up over the past, because I've been doing this consistently. Well, this will be the second year, so literally almost 2 years. And there's I've noticed that most people don't really care as long as it doesn't apply to them directly or affect them directly. To a degree, I understand that because we all try to just get by day to day, so you don't necessarily want to worry about something you don't have control over. I understand that, but this thing is here and it is changing. One of the things that it is
Yeah.
changing is access, and that's the next point I want to talk about is access. So it is allowing. I mean, I've connected with you, for example, through technology where I would have never have known what you guys are doing. I mean, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
And now that I've been following, I see the work and so forth, and I feel I know you. And that is one of the,
Yeah.
I think, a fantastic thing with technology in how it access, man, access. And one of the things about access that I'm really um, I would say excited about is it introduces us to new markets. Whereas before, and I'm talking specifically in the arts, you only have a small group of people that buy and collect art. And I'm talking visual art. Yeah, even comes to books, the same argument can be made. There's always a tiny group of people that. But now we can broaden that much more. What's your take on that?
Well, access is it's a huge word. Um, for instance, I'm just gonna give an example with what I do with the game. I'm just gonna add up here, right?
Please go for it.
So I told you on our previous time that we actually um try to bring in access to rural places, you know, and access. How to define access? It's complicated because I've been looking into that. What do we say access is? You know, because I'll tell you in the places where it's well developed, like cities that are well developed, like your Gauteng, your CPT. Um, everyone knows. I'll say everyone knows everyone, especially when you're an artist, right? You know people in your industry,
Mm.
and you speaking now that we connected through the technology. It's like we've been together for longest time.
Yeah,
While this is just technology, I feel like I know you. You understand? I feel like I know you from this side, but we've been. If someone else asks, be like, no, we haven't actually met. We've met through
yeah,
online, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So I will say, um, just to emphasize on this, access is a difficult word to really look into, because who has access?
Hmm?
Who has access? The people that have access are the people that have, for instance, I met you through someone else, right?
Yeah.
That's when I had this access to have a conversation with you, to
Yeah.
have this honor to be on this platform, because this is also a huge platform that also advertises my work, and to a different, what do you call this? To a different um, industry. Does it make sense? So right now, for instance, when I start posting your stuff, you also have a different access to different landscape,
Yeah.
and then you get people following you through technology. But what happens to places that do not have these uh, these gadgets? You know,
Yeah.
what happens to those places? Does it mean there is no access for them to actually see what's happening around the world? There is no access to us, who have access to places, to see what's happening with them.
Interesting point there. Interesting point, and I wanna add on to that. When you everybody. I'm taking a I think the thing is that the average South African has two SIM cards, right? Um, I
Mm.
know most of us have one for data. I have one for data, and you know one that I've been using. Actually, I haven't changed my cell phone number since 2004, 2004, 2005. I have the same SIM. I have the
Can I just
same.
have a second?
Yeah.
Can I just have a second? Just a
Yeah.
second. Just a second. Uh, keep on coming in here.
Fine. It's fine. No worry. This platform is not very rigid. It allows people to be themselves. So yeah. We can talk about that separately, but this platform is for yeah. Don't worry about that. I was
Yeah.
the point I was trying to make about having two SIM cards is that most South Africans um, um, have, especially the younger generation, um, um, and most South Africans, or I can even cast that a bit broader as to say most. If you look at SADC, so I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I could be wrong. I know that some rural areas also am, but especially with connectivity, I know that's a problem. For example,
Huge problem.
yeah, if you travel from point A to point B, the chances are if you're busy listening to music through whatever platform you are, your thing will
Disappear.
eventually will get interrupted because
Disappear.
there's just no connectivity. That is
I
amazing.
live in that place. I live in that place.
I cannot. Yeah, that is a valid thing. Um, I mean, the government is talking to Starlink. But I don't really care for Elon Musk, but I do think that that technology is very good. It's also very expensive, and I think it'll be out of the reach for most, especially most middle class households to get access to that. But my point is that if we rewind the clock back to, let's say, 10 years, there's definitely more people that has access now to a smart device, than there was, let's say 5, 10 years ago. And there are
Yeah.
more applications that are appealing to a large variety of people, whether it be music, shopping, etc., etc. And through those platforms, as I said again, I understand that there's many challenges, but people, the cell phone, the smartphone market is growing. It is growing, and people are spending more and more time on their phone. So something that I'm really focused on, or trying to get understand of how artists are looking at it is that there's 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 a bigger potential market over there. Most people, and I was actually reading this morning, and I agree with it. They called it shit. What is it? Was it junk media? I think it was junk media. Most of it is just Facebook, Twitter, so forth. It's just filled with a lot of hyperbole, bombastic uh, comments. A lot of division is sowed on there, and that's all intentional. That's all intentional. And
Yeah.
I have a feel that sometimes our perception on all of this is fueled by that. When when I like to look at the other side too, but there are still people there who don't care for all this junk media of who
Media.
who this and who called. I mean, look at this Puff Daddy case. That thing is all over my timeline, and every day I'm hearing of this and that, and I don't honestly, I don't care. I don't care. So I just scroll past, scroll past. But my point is that there are still people on these devices who are growing, and I do think that that is something worthwhile of looking at, because I do feel that the art industry is very stagnant. And it is very conservative in terms of its growth. It wants to grow, but it only wants to grow to a certain demographic. And I
Yeah.
find that thing concerning. I find that thing problematic because, well, it will get political if we must discuss it, and I think that's also for a future episode. But I do think that there's major potential there. So on that, let me get your take on. I mean, you were by profession a dancer, um, in a small remote part of the country. Are you reaching out, or rather, are you looking to reach out to be introduced to new people, or are you trying to grow that audience that you have in your part of the world?
So what I've been doing, I started with one town where I just get to work with kids, and then now I have like 6 towns that I'm working with in the Northern Cape, small towns, and it's still developing. Like my whole idea is to reach out the whole Northern Cape province. So to just help assist, because I mean, man, this thing is real. There is no access. There is no access. For instance, in Loxin, where I am, there is an e-learning center, just one e-learning center. And bet you, if I'm not here, it wasn't going to be running.
Mm.
You understand the depths of it? So people are scared. There's computers in here that we using. That there's people that actually have started doing knowing how to use a computer, introductions to computer and stuff. But majority is scared.
Yeah, that's another very.
Yeah, to just be on the computer. But one thing that they don't understand, I normally say people that have used a phone, if you've ever owned a phone, you have like owned a computer, so it's one and the same thing. It's mobile, but it's one and the same thing. So I am really reaching out to a whole lot of communities. I have collaborations with because what I don't want to do is that, for instance, um, traveling here also is a problem.
Yeah, I remember you
There's
said
no
that.
transport. There's no transport. So you need to wherever I'm gonna work at, or with, let's say maybe I move to another town and work there. I need to make sure that there's someone who's gonna maintain that in that locality, in that town. Because what happens if I just go there in a week, month, and then what happens to all those other days when I'm not there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now the whole idea that I've been doing is that I look at, okay, so in the towns who are actually into arts, who are actually into this, whether it's dance or it's visual arts, whatever form of practice that they're doing. So I actually work in connection with the person who's actually leading in the.
Yeah.
So to support them, to collaborate with them. Like for instance, I'm having a festival now in December. I'm inviting everyone that I have collaborated with to come and showcase what we've been working on throughout the year. So this festival is also like a hub for whatever we've been doing throughout the year to come in and showcase. So, and the interesting thing about the festival is that it has the technology side, we have hackathons, we have the performance side, the artists, it has the tourism side, because Northern Cape is all about tourism. So it's a unique festival that the first day it's workshops where we try to help the kids, the artists, and the what you call the town leaders that are actually leading the dance groups, the visual arts, so that when they actually go back to their towns, they have something tangible, so that they can, like, if you have something that you looking towards to, like, okay, we're working towards this, it actually drives you to work up on a daily basis. But if there's nothing that you're like, okay, we're just doing this for the sake of growing our, then there's no drive, there's no passion and stuff. So now this festival, this year, it's the fourth year that we're doing it. And we're aiming to have like our national arts Tapa for festival in the Northern Cape, but in a different scale that gets technology, tourism, arts together, Yeah.
Eden, I just wanna add on to, I just wanna sort of give you your flowers in that regard. First and foremost, like to all my guests, also why a reason why I want to speak to Adrian is because he's working in such a remote part of the world in South Africa, and out of all the 9 provinces, I think the Northern Cape is probably the vast in terms of physical size, and it's also probably the most undeveloped. And to do the type of work like that, given the limited, and we spoke about connectivity, is unbelievable. And like, you need to be congratulated for that, my brother. So much love to that. Because you are working with more, or rather, there's more things working against you than working for you, which is also why I wanted to talk about what is your interaction with technology and your relationship, which is positive, given that in a small conservative part of the world with poor connectivity, it's easy to be negative about it. Also,
Yeah.
and to believe in some form of religion dogma where, like, it's the devil, or believing in whatever propaganda you're being fed to say that it's the devil and it's gonna evil, blah 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 blah. To use that, I think is a great thing. And look, man, I wanna talk about everything is cool, man. Um, okay, man. Yeah. So Adrian, just to sort of recap, as I said, like, in working in such a remote part of the world, but using the limited resources. Again, I'm going to highlight the connectivity because I think that's such a major part of it. And I do think
Yeah.
with better broadband, with better connectivity, you can do. It's limited. You can basically host an international festival, and just stream everything online, which will also highlight a bunch of other really important things that I find that it's important. But to sort of the next point I want to talk about is artificial intelligence, AI. We
Mm.
spoke earlier on that has been around for longer than most people give, are aware of, um, which is a fact. And for anybody else, I would recommend you go check that out on yourself. Do some reading up on your own. It's pretty interesting. Um, to revert back, and I just sort of want to lay the platform for this. I know that in the arts. So I spoke to these brothers last year. I think it was just before it started to get cold. So it had to be autumn, not autumn. Yeah, autumn 2023, around about then.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, AI the was getting over 1 billion prompts a day. Um, Most of it, I mean, it's also doing people are publishing books, illustrating family portraits, and so forth and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's literally taking bread out of some artists' mouths who's been making a living for 20, 30 years doing that type of thing. Um, and I mean, it's quicker. I don't know how cheap it is, depending on what part of the world you are in. I'm not so sure about that, but it's quicker. And I know the speed. Sometimes if you commission an artist, you don't necessarily get what's in your mind. You get how the artist is seeing what you are telling them. Personally, I think that's the beauty of the whole process. But different people will think differently about that. So if somebody wants a picture of a dragon on a whatever, they'll tell, and it'll do exactly that. Obviously, there'll be a few glitches here and there, but the technology will get smarter and better over time. So I'm not even concerned about that. And
Yeah.
also, AI is also um, the other thing is I spoke to a lady who I won't give her name away, but it's on this channel of the Arts and Culture Trust, and I was asking about like what's government's role in this? What is government doing about it? And basically she was saying that government can't keep up with the technology, so basically they're not going to do anything. And I actually understand the fact
Mm.
they can't keep up with it because it's ever changing. But I think that's a seriously poor excuse because if you are the you're the government. If you can't
You are the government.
you can't employ people to do that, then who the fuck can? You understand? Which is deeply concerning because if you look at social media, for example, they are trying now to regulate what constitutes hate speech, and that is very controversial because people are being
Mm.
for merely having an opinion. It's not necessarily being a hate speech. People are being put in Facebook jail for something that they got on Facebook, and the hypocrisy there is just unbelievable. And so yeah, so to regulate the thing, the way they're doing it is poor, and it is very divisive. So in other words, I've got no faith. I got zero. Well, I don't like governments, period. But I've got no faith in the fact that even if government gets on board, they'll do a good job. So my point is
Mm.
that it's up to us like people like me and people like you and others who I'm not saying we can regulate this thing because I don't know how. I have no clue how, and it's way above my pay grade. But
Mm.
let's start at the beginning. What's your take? Do you think first of all, as do you guys use any AI tools in your part of the world? That's the first point. And the second one is what's your take on this technology? Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you get my question?
Please ask again. Just got distracted here. Sorry.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Basically, what I was asking is like, do you guys, are you and your team, and then the work that you're doing that side, the people you're working with, are you guys first and foremost using any AI tools for anything? I'll be interested to.
Um,
And what
well,
technology?
so okay, let me just explain in terms of, and then I'll answer your question in terms of us using, right? So first of all, AI, people look at AI as an alien. like an alien that came out of space and it's here to
Interesting.
extract, you know. But one thing that we should like go back to, AI was built by a human
Yeah.
to make life easier for humans. To, for instance, I mean, without humans, AI wouldn't exist to start with. So I will say without humans, phones wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
There's other people right now in this place that be like, no, phones are evil and all that and all that. But what has phones done to us? They have made us connect easy, you know? So looking into AI, for instance, right now you can let's say you wanna do like a business proposal, right? With AI. So you can use AI. You can take, instead of like taking a whole month of planning a business, doing a business plan, writing down a business plan, and then you do not have like even the capacity, you go back, you do not have even words to put it down and all that. AI makes it way easy.
Yeah.
You just put on your what do you call this, your heading, what's the business plan all about, what are the key points, key elements, goals, and all that. You list that, and then AI does that for you. And you go through and read what AI has written for you. And you have actually a whole chance or capability to say, okay, this doesn't sound the way I want it. I actually want it to sound like this. Then you can edit, you know. So instead of the old way to like sit down and crack your head and all that, AI is there, you know. Yes, of course, it has some, what do you call this? I'll normally say it gets people lazy at the end of the day, but it does. We've using AI. I've introduced my interns to AI so that they, especially chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
GPT,
Yeah.
just to get what do you call this? To get exposed to like, okay, so this is how I would have thought to do a business plan or a proposal or whatever. But it's AI has done it, and then it also educates you
Yeah.
back to like, oh, actually, and then it even gives you ideas. Let's say maybe you're coming up with a business, you're a new entrepreneur, and you do not know where to start from, but you have like ideas, you know. AI is there, my bro,
Yeah.
and we can utilize that as artists. Just let me give. It's not a stupid point, but we see it happening, and it's been happening. You've had people saying most of the times, and I've seen it as well. I will talk about, especially maybe in the dance industry, in the visual arts. It's only now where artists go to school for art, especially in Africa. Parents in Africa took art as a stupid thing. Like, it's only now where parents started to actually, it's few people that will take art as a profession.
Oh, yeah.
Any type of art, whether it's visual art, it's performing arts, it's dance. Even now, when I speak to other people here in this town, be like, what do you do? I'm a dancer. That's the you understand. So there's that thing of like, okay, now you can't take that as a profession. So what we can do as artists, as visual artists, whatever practice that you're doing in the art industry, we can learn from AI. let's say that person who didn't go to school, you didn't have like metric and all that, and you do not have ideas on how to write and all. AI is there. You can have like a whole business. You can start a business using AI. So AI is a good tool to use. I've used AI when I've gotten to a point where like my head is cracking. I need this. I need to write. I need words for this, because you get to a certain point where you run out of words, but you need certain words to express. But AI helps, and then you're like, oh, actually, I remember this, or I heard this from them.
Yeah.
So it's more of um, how I've seen it, how I've taken it as a learning tool.
Interesting point there. When you say a learning tool, fascinating. I think that's it's a very refreshing way of looking at it. I've also been using some of the tools. I've been trying to use some of the tools for editing this podcast, but those tools cost is a bit above my budget. And because the podcast's not making enough income, I don't really want to spend money on it when I know I'm not getting it back. So that's a business strategy with regards to that. But I definitely will in the future, because I also feel that it makes everything a bit quicker. For example, like as you say, if you're stuck, you can't figure this out. Just to prompt the tool, the processes move much quicker. Um, Also, here's another perspective on it. That I know that it's taking certain jobs away from certain people. Um, my take is that some of these jobs are monotonous. Honestly, I don't even think the people that's doing it like doing that anyway. And
Mm.
another point on it is that AI doesn't think for itself. At least that's my understanding of it now. You need to tell it what to think. So why
Yeah.
can't we tell it to think? And I want to give you a practical example. And I'd like your take on this. Um, let's use what we're doing, right? Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. So I will give the I'll prompt it that I look him and I'm doing this type of illustrations, or let's use the podcast. This is my podcast. This is the what I'm talking about. Who else? Where can I market it? Who else? Give me other list of potential guests that might be that might that might be interested in this platform. Where can I market? How can I? Who can I approach and so forth? In other words, um, I can also ask her to sort of hustle for me, whereas in the past I had to figure that shit out myself, and that shit can take days,
Mm.
months, years, and if you're stressed out, it can even take longer. Whereas the narrative which has been driven now is that it'll take all your creativity away from you, which is true. But there's also the other side to it. What's your take on that?
I will support the point where, like, yes, I understand the point of taking creativity, but I haven't seen that on my side. I've used AI, and what it does for me, or what it has done for me, it actually has taught me, because I now there's a time where I was actually using Chat GP, right? And I realized that, okay, wait, by myself, I wasn't going to think of this. By myself, I wasn't going to think of this, because I haven't been exposed to certain scales or certain industries and stuff, right? But it actually, I know now, especially when I'm doing my proposals. I'm a person who loves doing proposals by myself, not using AI mostly, right? But I remember I used once, and when I used once, it opened up my brains to, like, okay, I can actually tap into this side, tap into this side. So I do not see it as something that will take away your creativity, but I see it as something that adds to your creativity, that gives you new elements, that opens certain parts in your brain to like, okay, think in this side, think in this side, think in this way. So I see it as Facebook used to have that poke thing, like, hey, right? So I see it as it's as a poker face thing, like it just think about this. It just adds, like it plants a seed to your brain. Because trust me, if you've used chat, right, you type something and then it will give you a whole different language, wording. So also, if you're a person who's like, okay, I don't understand this word, what does this word mean? Now you actually takes you to like learning new words. I've been learning new words from chat. Like, okay, so it gets me to like think in certain, it has broadened my vision.
Sure.
It has broadened my vision. So I see it as a helper, as an assistant to what already exists in my brain. But it just needs a watering. It just needs nurturing,
Sure. Yeah. In terms of that nurturing, interesting point there. Yeah. As I said, like I think that's why we should have more of these conversations, so people can understand. Like, I think like what we tell it to do is what it will do. So if you want to tell it to, yeah, well, I think we made that point. I don't want to keep making the same
Just
point.
one thing. Just let me add one thing.
Go for it.
We all have if you have a phone, a computer, you have access to AI, right? But has AI done anything for you without asking it?
That's you see.
No.
You see, that's a good point. That's a good point. It hasn't. It doesn't. You need to tell it to do things. And
Yes.
if you live in this perpetual fear of and this religious dogma and hyperbole from governments and social media platforms and so forth, um, it's easy to think that it's gonna do whatever they are telling you it's gonna do. Um,
Media.
and,
Mm.
and that sort of leads to the next point is that yeah, man, I just think there should be a better understanding, especially with as an entrepreneur. Just a point. So I've been working as an entrepreneur for a long time. I started off more as a social entrepreneur, where especially as a publisher, and a bit of a or part as a cultural activist, trying to get art in very remote places and trying to grow my market and my audience. This was even before social media. Um, and if I must look at that journey over the past 20 or so years, um, I think things have gotten a lot better. Because pre-COVID I had to move back home to Kimberley. Um, but I'm still incredibly active. Everybody knows what I'm doing. Everybody sees what I'm doing. Um, People are interacting with what I'm doing and so forth. And that's thanks to technology. If it wasn't
Mm.
I'd have literally been on the other side of the world, and that would have been that would have been really really bad. So moving forward into technology, and I sort of wanna this will be the I would say the last point of the recording. Um, I'm aware of what you guys are doing there, right? In terms of
Mm.
well everything. I don't want to unpack that, but um, what let me just explain. So I kind of want to get your take on let me explain. So we're busy developing a platform where I've noticed that first and foremost I'm quite frustrated with Mark Zuckerberg's platforms and Elon Musk. I find the amount of bots on these platforms overwhelming, especially like LinkedIn. Most of the I guess recommendations or people I chat to, I think they're all bots. Most of them are. I find it quite frustrating because I don't see the point of the platform then. If I'm supposed to grow my business, why am I talking to a machine? I want to talk to a human being who has similar interests and so forth. Not to say that they obviously I do talk to people, but there's also over the past few years I've been talking more to bots, which I find
Yeah.
concerning. And I'm also aware that there's this thing that negative news has a bigger attention, what grabs people attention more than positive news. I'm actually quite critical about that. I don't have the facts or the data in front of me, but I am quite critical of it. I don't think that is you can use that for everybody all over the world. Anyway, anyway, building in trying to build because this process that we involved in is taking a while and it's painstakingly and if you actually go through it you find how many um, problems there are that I wouldn't even like our infrastructure it's quite complicated and it's very time consuming um, given that there's not many people doing it so you're doing something not necessarily for the first time but for the first time in our little community and so
Yeah. Yeah.
terms of entrepreneurship, man, I feel that there's because of this fourth industrial revolution, it's going to give birth to a new type of entrepreneur that has tools that they never had a few years ago, which it can be good, it can be bad. I guess everything in life, there's always a duality in everything in life. Um, you guys, you mentioned early on of you trying to grow your work. Amongst the smaller towns. Um, um, and as an entrepreneur, man, moving forward, what else? I guess, what direction are you guys moving? If you can just be a bit more specific. So, are you guys also looking to
Mm.
or everybody else you are working in, where's everybody's headspace right now? What direction are you guys moving into? Given all these other things that I said, are you guys using social media a lot? What's your experience with that? And just my last point on the
Mm.
social thing is that I actually had a conversation with somebody I don't know the person in person. We haven't met in person, but he's also an entrepreneur. And we're also talking about the frustrations of Facebook not allowing it suppresses your content. It boosts content that you find on their platform. That's why memes get millions of shares because
Yeah.
it comes from Facebook. But your own and Facebook likes to keep your attention on Facebook itself. It doesn't like you to go to another
Mm.
website or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
so with all that said, yeah, as I said, which direction are you guys looking to move into? Yeah, I think I made my point.
Okay, let me just answer in this way. I'm gonna first answer you with questions, right? The Facebook that you're talking about, the Instagram, the LinkedIn, the Twitter or X, what we call now. Where was these things developed? Who designed them? Who developed them? And
Yeah,
where are they from?
well, it's from Silicon Valley. Most of them are from, except TikTok. That's from I forgot the place in China, but it's
But
funded by the
obviously,
Chinese Communist Party.
Europe and Asia. Europe and Asia. Nothing that is
From Africa,
famous, that's being used, that is from Africa,
nothing.
that is from here. Nothing.
Not even the device.
So where we going to our direction, the whole vision is for us to start having our owned gadgets, brands, apps, applications, softwares, and all these things. That's the direction that we're taking. Originally, our like being authentic, because at the moment, what even if there's something that looks like Facebook that has been designed here, it's a copycat of
Yeah,
Facebook. but
Yeah.
can we have original ideas from here? So with the game that we're doing, the ranges that's developed by Tangible Africa, what we do with that, it's not a game that is there to say, okay, we want everyone to do coding or programming, but it plants a seed for originality. It creates problem solving where, like, for instance, I'm going to also add on what we're going to be doing on the festival for hackathons. One
Please
of the programs that we have for hackathons is that using the ranges, we say, okay, so look at the problems around your town. How long have you been living in your town? Look at the problems around your town. So there's that one problem that you've been always, this is a problem. This is a problem. And how would you solve that problem using technology? So we build from there. And then we find, as much as we're not building anything at the moment and stuff, because the next step from ranges, we introduce them to robotics to build stuff and all that. That has coding. Now you start having to do the code and all that. But first build the ideas, like, okay, so this problem, how will I solve it? You start dreaming. You start just writing down, not even writing the code on the computer, on the paper, on the script paper. So the whole direction that we're taking, we need to build our own, what do you call, Marks here, Mark Zuckerbergs here. We need to have our own Elon Musk here in this Northern Cape, in this rural. I'm gonna steal what do you call this essay that this company says a lot, and I've learned a lot from them. I'm not gonna steal it. Actually, just gonna say, because I've learned from them. I'm actually giving gratitude and thanks to Forgotten Angle Theatre Collaboration from Pumalanga. So they have a say, from forgotten spaces comes greatness. You understand? And these gems that are hidden, that are not being seen, there's a lot that these people have in remote areas, in rural areas, in terms of thinking. It just needs nature. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be developed, you know. So the direction that we're taking.
Fantastic. Adrian, thanks a lot, my brother. Just in closing, man, just give us more information about your show coming up December, like what's it called, and so forth. Like if people want to find out more information about it, where do they go and all of that?
The festival, it's called Karoo Festival. It happens in the Northern Cape in Victoria West every year at Apollo Theatre. So the entire festival just aims to bring in local artists and helps them expand. That's why we have workshops. Also bringing in international artists as well to work with the local artists so they can network and
Your
build
sound,
from
your
there.
sound
And
is just broken up there, my brother. Just hold on.
okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, hold on. There's a problem here. Sorry, they quick. There's a glitch here somewhere. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, my brother. There was a glitch here. I don't even know what happened. You were just explaining to us like there's workshops for local based artists. Yeah, just take it up from there, please.
Yeah, there's workshops that we do for local artists so they can like build their brand, build their that talks about entrepreneurship, how to take yourself as a brand, how to present yourself as a brand, and proposals and all this stuff, so that the local artists actually learn. And there's a part where we bring in international and national artists to work with the local artists so they can also network and have collaborations, and and there's performances where we take, because we've been working the entire year, so the people that we've been working with, they showcase on the last day.
Okay.
And the hackathons, where we bring in our rangers and robotics teams, and then they work together to build up something in a space of a day and come up with ideas.
You know what, my
So you can,
yeah, sorry
can you hear me?
yeah,
You
sorry.
can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Movement Story Technology, both on both platforms. And then people can contact me if they want to be part. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just in closing, I think it's such a great initiative. And just to my listeners who's not aware, and I made the point earlier on, the Northern Cape is a very undeveloped part of the country, and to do this is brilliant, man. I think you unearth diamonds that we didn't even know were there. You mentioned earlier on also having our own Elon Musk. Like, I totally agree. That piece of shit is actually from South Africa. So I think good. That's a very good point. As I said, I'm very critical. Actually, I think all billionaires, I think if by the fact you're a billionaire, you failed humanity. So I'm against every single anybody that calls himself a billionaire. I think you failed humanity. So I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Mm,
Probably
mm.
anyway. I don't wanna this platform is not for hating or pointing fingers to people. It's rather talking about art. But thanks to that, my brother, man. Thanks a lot, man. I'll closer to the day we can actually do a recording. If yeah, man, I'll communicate with you with regards to the festival leading up to that and see what else we can do that I can help in terms of promoting it and so
Okay.
forth. I
Okay.
think fantastic initiative. And you say it's the fourth year, correct?
Yeah, it's the fourth year now,
Brilliant.
this
Brilliant.
year.
I
Yeah.
mean that
And
is just
it has been growing. It has been growing.
yeah. I usually if an event goes into the second, third year, then it's doing something good. Talking from experience,
Yeah.
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 Usually it doesn't go well the first year. There's only 1 year. So talking
Yeah.
from experience there. But Adrian, thanks a lot for coming through, my brother, once again, for sharing your opinions on everything. To all my listeners, if you have any value of this content and you like to support this channel, smash that subscribe button. It'll definitely help a little bit. Yeah, and the year's coming to an end. I think I'm actually going to be wrapping up this year's recording probably the second week of December, because I've been doing a hell of a lot of recording this year. I've actually worked it out. I've done a tick over 60 episodes for the year, and that's collaborations with other people as well, which is substantial because the 1 year previous to this year, the most recordings I did in a year was 40 something, and I've done well over that. So yeah, man. Thanks to everybody for coming through. Thanks,
Mm.
my brother. I'll definitely put all your social media handles and so forth on the description below for everybody to check it out. And we'll be in touch, my king. So enjoy the rest of your day and all the best with your
Thank you,
event
man.
in a few weeks' time.
Thank you. Stay safe. Hope to see you again. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, my king. Take care, man. One love.
Wow.